Hey everyone, and welcome back to Small Screen Sagas. I'm your host, Nicole, and today I'll be talking about the show from Season 2, Episode 5, entitled Lullaby. I will have to say this is probably my least favorite episode of the season, maybe even of the series. If you guys been listening to the podcast since I started about a week ago when I did all of Season 1, and then I started now in Season 2, and Season 1, I watched all of those episodes 4 times. Just 3 on my own, and then the 4th time for the podcast. And when I tell you this episode, I've only seen twice, and it was already too much. I'm not here to bash the show. I'm going to talk about it, but I just want to say real quickly, it was not my favorite. Like, so many times while I'm sitting here taking notes for the pod, I was about to fast forward. Then I was like, oh, shoot, I can't fast forward. I got to actually hear what they're talking about. But I didn't enjoy it. I'm gonna let them slide because the show has shown me enough to make me think that maybe next week or potentially maybe even episode 7. Last season, 7 was pretty big. The Colony House and everything got attacked. So I'm just thinking maybe they didn't have that much to work with this season, and a lot of the heavy stuff, a lot of the big stuff, the exciting moments, the scary moments are going to be in the second half of the season. So we'll see. Let's get into it. We will first talk about my biggest disappointment this episode, which was Randall. Now, I'm going to let it slide because I have a feeling whatever Randall was doing on the bus at the end, taking the seats out, he's trying to do some, I don't know, some type of Home Alone something to this van, or to this bus, excuse me. So he's doing something to the bus. He wasn't scared of the monsters this time, and I was so mad he wasn't scared of them. I was so mad when they walked away. But then later on, we get a Ethan scene, and Ethan goes, if you're not scared of them, then they'll leave you alone. Or he says something along those lines, like you can't be scared of them. If you're not scared of them, they lose their power. And by him saying that if you're not scared of them, they lose their power, it made me go back to Randall's scene. I'm like, okay, well, Randall was saying he wasn't scared, and obviously they don't feel the fear in him. I'm trying to think, there's a monster that, like, feels the fear. Is that Predator or one of the monsters, like in one of those big movies, like the Freddy Krueger or something, like they can feel the fear. I don't know if it was like the Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, or like the Predator, but I don't know. It's one of those monsters where I feel like they feed on fear. It might be it. I might be thinking of one of those, but either way, it made me excited for what potentially can happen to Randall in next episode. Maybe he thinks he's big bad, I'm not scared of them, boo-hoo, you guys look like regular people. But then I was also like, why didn't they scare him? We know their faces can turn into monsters, so why didn't they like at him and see if that scared him? Or shake the car or the bus and see if that scared him. Because he's telling them everything of why he's not scared. I'm not scared. This rock is up here. As long as it's up here. Stop you talking too much. Yes, they know the rules, but you don't have to repeat the rules out loud. As long as this rock is up here and it doesn't fall to the ground. As long as you guys don't shake the bus and the rock doesn't fall to the ground, I'm safe here. Like, it was just, to me, it was giving them ideas. They didn't take any, but they just walked away. But I am excited to see where we are next week with Randall. I'm going to let them slide this week, but you better show me something. Randall can't get out of this bus without having learned a lesson. And he's not going to learn a lesson if he is not scared of him. Now. So I want him to learn a lesson. I want Randall to shit his pants. I want it to be scary. I want him to live. Can't learn a lesson if you're dead. So I want him to be able to learn this lesson, but I do need him to be scared. So we'll see. Then we have Kristi and Mariel. Everyone was saying last week, Mariel's a drug addict. All the forums were saying she's a drug addict. And here I'm like trying to give her excuse of to why maybe it's not the obvious thing, which is a drug addict. And this episode, we see her and Kristi. They're getting to know each other again. It's only been 6 months, so that's nothing. But they're getting, familiar with each other again. She gives Kristi a haircut. She also gives her an old shirt and says, like, this was your favorite shirt. It used to smell like you. Now it just smells. But then Miss Old Lady, I want to say her name is Tilly. I did see her name somewhere. but I can't remember it right now. So, old lady, she comes in, and people have been talking. Is she up to no good? And part of me now does wonder, because the first time last week, well, not the first time, so the last week when we saw her, and Boyd was about to go in the church, she played all Miss Innocent. Oh, you won't find Kenny in there. I think he went to the clinic. Okay, so she's moving people around. Now this week she comes in and goes, oh, well, good thing you guys are inside, because that crazy girl's back, the one that killed her brother. You know she killed her brother, but you don't know her name. Stop playing. So I don't know. I feel like with her saying that, and then Kristi about to run off and start some shit, Mariel stopped her. It does make me wonder, like, okay, this is two things. She didn't really instigate anything when she told Boyd about Kenny going to the clinic, but she did make that conversation happen right then and there. But I don't know. Let's just keep a look on this lady, see what's this about. She might be harmless. She might be just a lady that's trying to enjoy her last few months of living. Obviously, if they gave her the liquid morphine, things must be pretty serious. That's why it goes back to her dancing in the rain, why she seems so happy, and she's going to go play the tracks or whatever she's doing. She was off to gamble something, either on horses or the machines. She was going to gamble. So maybe she's like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy my last few months of living. Like, it's like, Queen Latifah in The Last Holiday. Like, I'm gonna spend this money. It ain't going nowhere. It's not going to come with me. So let's go have some fun. So it might turn out that she's just completely innocent. Now, with Mariel taking the drug, like, it looked like she put it in her mouth. And I did miss it the first time I was watching. I must have just been in a daze. But her taking that drug so quickly, and she looked so suspicious taking it. Like, she took it the same day she got it, or the same day Kristi got it. I guess there's she's on drugs. I mean, I don't know. I feel like just her being a drug addict is just too simple. So, like, did she become a drug addict? Did she turn to drugs when Kristi disappeared? And now she's kind of screwed up or something? I feel like there's more to this story than just her being addicted to drugs. So, we'll see. Obviously, Kristi doesn't seem concerned with her being near drugs. So, it seems like it's something Kristi either doesn't know about because she never had a drug addiction prior to this, or Kristi doesn't know about because, well, yeah, the same thing. She didn't become a drug addict until Kristi left. So we'll see where that's going. It's unfortunate because that's not what I wanted to happen. Like, it was our good piece of news, sort of. Like, Mariel's there, Kristi can be with her fiance, yay. But now it's like, oh no, the fiance is on drugs and she's gonna, who knows what she'll do. So we'll see. So after Tabitha saw how brave Ethan was to go face his fear, who is Sara, she decides to go face her fear and call on those two monster kids. So she takes the blocks down to where she came out of the woods with Victor, and she's like, hey, I'm out here now. And not two monster kids, but 4 monster kids come out calling out to her, Akanuka, whatever they were saying. I've seen so many theories in these last 24 hours of what that expression means. Some people are saying it means a witch. I've seen so many, like, people doing, like, thesis on it, witch, maybe that word means mom, other things, I'm not sure. And she's telling them, like, I'm not scared, but then immediately freaks out when they start, like, touching all over her and she's freaking out. I would freak out, too. I wouldn't have let them take me down, though. Her calling it, how are you going to protect yourself if you're in a ball? And if you're crunched down below, those little kids will definitely be able to attack you. Now, they're monster kids, so they could have special powers. They might be able to overthrow her even if she was standing up, but she had a better chance of defending herself if it came to it with her standing up versus kneeling down. But she's freaking out. Jade pops up. And he's like, your nose is bleeding. She doesn't care. She's like, where are they? Do you see them? Do you see them? And I'm like, okay, if she's saying, do you see them? Do you see them? Jade doesn't see nothing. But Jade is a person who sees stuff that's not there all the time. Jade and Tabitha better have a conversation. He better say, what did you see? Like, what are you freaking out about? And don't just let her say, oh, no, nothing. Like, tell each other what you're seeing. And I'm mad that she didn't tell Jim this. I'm mad she didn't even bring Jim along. Why does everyone have these secrets and they're keeping them to themselves? or they tell like one other person, it's annoying, I don't like it. And probably because I don't really that much care for Tabitha's character. Nothing she did, it's just, I don't know. I guess it is something she did. She gets on my nerves. Not as much as Sara, which we'll get to in a little bit, but Tabitha, you tried, girl. Let's see what happens next week if you talk to Jade or your damn husband about what you're seeing. And don't just say I'm seeing kids. Like, no, those aren't seeing kids. Those are seeing monster kids. You have to be specific here, okay? Next, we have Jade and Victor. I saw people once again online. They're like, this was my favorite scene, and showing it all artsy with, Victor on top of the car and Jade playing the violin. I was so over this whole thing. Like, y'all took all day just to play this violin and barely give us any answers. Like, he gave us Victor gave us a little bit of information, but not much. So Jade's at the bar. He's making the symbol that he keeps seeing out of glass bottles, which I don't get how that was going to help him. I mean, this is becoming an obsession at this point. But Victor comes and says, hey, if you help me with something, you play this violin for me, I'll tell you who the man is in the picture. And actually, before we even get to that scene, that first night, Jade is at the bar by himself. He now sleeps there since Tom is dead. He even tells Victor that the next day. But he sees the man in the picture in the doorway. And he's holding the book with the symbols in it, and blood is coming down from the symbols. And then the next day is when Victor stops by and says, hey, play the violin. I'll do something for you. You do something for me. So Victor takes Jade far out, like where no one ever goes. And he tells him the trees are changing, which Jade does go, what does that even mean? But once they start playing, he plays for him. He sees all of these cars, and Victor admits, yeah, I moved him out. I hate seeing him after people come, and I didn't want to look at him, so I moved him out here after everything that happened. And he has Jade play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star for him. Now, a few things that Victor said, and I'm trying to be sensitive. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but like, okay, Victor, yes, your mom played you Twinkle, Twinkle, but stop acting like you didn't know the name of the song. He's like, play Twinkle, Twinkle. Like, stop. I don't know. Whatever. It was just too much. Like, okay, Victor, you gone... I can't even say it. I'm not even gonna. I was gonna say what I was thinking, but I'm not gonna go there. But one thing he mentions is that his mom used to play it for him. Well, she played it for him often, but she also played it for him when he was scared, when the people would be screaming at night. So that's a key point that he said. When people would be screaming at night, that's when his mom would play it. She played it other times, but she also played it then. Meaning, Victor was here with his mom while these monsters were here. Like this, he's been living this go inside at night every day for a long time. If people would be screaming at night, meaning they're getting killed, and his mom would play this, even though that doesn't make sense. How was the mom playing the violin? And back then they must have been just hiding. Wouldn't they need to be quiet? Or were they hiding somewhere so far down that she was able to play the violin and they couldn't hear it? I feel like they might have messed up on that part, because it had to be before the talisman. People are obviously screaming and she's playing the violin. They would find him. But Victor tells Jade that the man in the picture, his name is Christopher, and he was always happy, telling jokes. But then after he starts seeing the symbol, he started to change, and things around here started to change. And one day his mom told him, hide somewhere different, hide somewhere where Christopher doesn't know where you are. And the next day everyone was dead. So it's implying that Christopher killed everyone. But if his mom normally played music for him at night when people were screaming, it's not adding up, unless I misheard, but I don't think I did. He said his mom would play and you would hear the people screaming. Yeah, I think they messed up. I don't know. How are you playing the violin? Like, who's playing the violin and you're hiding? It's not like you're playing the violin now with the talisman. Okay, I'm not going to go on and on. You guys get what I'm getting at. But it is important to note, hey, this man was happy. Now he's not happy. He didn't really say what his personality changed to. Just wasn't friendly. He wasn't telling jokes anymore. He changed. Jade, it's hard to say if he's changed because he's always been like a little sarcastic asshole, and it doesn't so far seem like he's different than that. He's obviously growing his beard out. He does seem stressed, but his personality as of right now isn't that different than when he came. So once that changes, could Jade be a danger to them inside? Could Jade open the door to Miss Lou's house? I don't know. So we'll have to see exactly if Jade changes, since he's been seeing these symbols since he got there. Then we have Boyd. He's on everyone's shit list this week, at least in the town. No one trusts him anymore because he had to make this decision and hide Sara. But I'm going to say, actually, I don't know what I'm going to say. I was going to say one thing, and then I'm like, that's kind of contradicting. But so I'm not even going to say it. But I do feel like they were going a little hard on Boyd. Like, just a little, like, it's not like he left the door open. Yes, he kept a secret. It's been like 2 weeks that he kept this secret. Chill. Let him, he's trying to figure things out. You guys are going to act on emotion if he tells you everything at once. I know that goes against everything else we're saying. Tell each other stuff. But yes, he could have told everyone what happened when he got back. I don't know. I just feel like they're just a little too mad. Like, y'all taking your anger out on Boyd. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Yes, Sara is a psychopath. And we're not a psychopath, but she's a killer. We'll get to Sara in a minute, because I feel like I'm going to contradict myself. Like, something I'm going to talk about Boyd, and then I'm like, no, they should have did this. So let's just see what happens here with Boyd. So we first see Boyd. He has Sara still at the church. Here's knocking on the door. He tells Sara to go downstairs and don't come up. It's Jim and Tabitha. They're there to fuss at Boyd and say they want to see Sara. I don't know what they were coming to do, because they came in there like they were going to do something. So I don't know if they came just to fuss at Boyd or if they were planning on, like, beating Sara down. Tabitha was so mad I could see her doing that. But then Sara pops up just quietly, and she's just staring and lets Tabitha yell at her. And Tabitha's like, you ever come near my family again, I will kill you. Tabitha, you're scared of those monster kids. You ain't killing nobody. No, I'm just joking. Sara and the monster kids are two different enemies that you have to be worried about. But she says that to her, and don't come near my family or I will kill you. And Boyd tells Sara, stay put. It's important that we note that. He says, stay put, lock the door. She doesn't do that at all. So then Boyd goes and sees Donna, I guess kind of his counterpart for the colony house. And Donna immediately starts getting into it with him, and she's like, that girl deserves to go in the box. That was your rule. And, you know, pretty much she says, so what if she knows something? We're still here. So it's not like she knows exactly how to get us out of here. Yeah, she might know this. The monsters or whoever was talking to her. Okay, but it's not enough for her to get away with what she did. And it kind of makes me think of, like, the people that, like, you know, get a plea deal or something and they get off and people are mad. Like, they just got a plea deal. They just snitched on this other person and now they're not having to pay for the crime. Like, yeah, that would make people upset, especially the victim or victims or victims' family members. If they saw that, hey, this person made a plea deal, now they get to stay. So I get what Donna's saying. Like, she didn't help us out to the point that we're not here anymore. So maybe Donna would be open to giving her a deal. But why? She hasn't done anything. Who cares that she hears voices? Who cares? And Donna says to him, maybe you're trying to help Sara or, like, you know, learn from Sara or whatever she's going through because you didn't help your wife. And this is more about how you somehow, or you feel you failed your wife. You don't want to fail another broken person here in this place. So that's why he's helping Sara. Or at least that's what Donna feels. And she does ask important questions. She says, well, how does Miss Lou feel about all this? And that's what made me mad at Boyd. Boyd going around here trying to play damage control with this person, that person, talking to the Matthews came and found him. But then he went and talked to Donna, like kind of trying to talk to his counterpart to see what advice she may have. But since he knows that the rumor, or not even it's a rumor, he knows that this message that Sara's back is spreading, he probably should have went and talked to Miss Lou first. Maybe he felt like he didn't have to since Kenny knew and Kenny, but no, you talk to the family members first. He should have talked to Miss Lou first. I was disappointed in Boyd in not doing so. Now, Jim and Boyd do interact a little bit later after Ethan goes and confronts Sara, which we'll get to next. And Jim gives him a quick rundown of everything. Talked to a man on the radio. He knew my name. He knew my wife was digging the hole. I believe someone is watching and listening to us. We need to start working together. Like, I don't agree with everything you're doing, but we need to start working together. Boy, this is some valuable information. Very important information. And all he pretty much says is, he gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta talk. You gotta talk to him. Now talking to Miss Lou is so urgent. When Jim just told you this big information that someone on the radio, they made contact. They knew, like, come on, Boyd. You're doing stuff reactionary. And yeah, I guess if he would listen to Jim, he's reacting off what Jim is telling him. But to me, this is more important now at this point. Miss Lou already knows you don't give a fuck. Because if you gave a fuck, you would have went to her first the moment Jim and Tabitha came to your house, the church, and now you know word is out. The first thing you should have did is went and go and talk to Miss Lou. But since you didn't, you might as well sit here and give Jim some time of day because he just told you something very big. And then, of course, the last we see Boyd is he's at the diner. His arms do show the worms. The song Sandman comes on. I don't even feel like trying to figure out what that means. I know it means something. The Sandman, it could be like your dreams or nightmares. I don't know. Who knows? I feel like the songs don't just play for a reason. I think it was intentional. I just didn't care enough to even try to like warp my brain around trying to figure out a theory. Because I'm like, y'all don't try to play Sandman and have me spend 20 minutes figuring out what that means. No, you guys didn't come correct to this episode. So I'm going to give you what you gave me. And I'm not doing extra research to figure out what Sandman in this case meant for Boyd. All right, now let's talk about the star of the episode. The star essentially of AKA Casey Anthony. Because that's how she's walking around. Sara's walking around here as if she didn't commit a crime. The audacity of this lady. The audacity. It is every time it showed her in another scene, I got so pissed off. I'm like, she is walking around. First of all, Boy told you to stay put. He told you to lock the door. You're going around town looking for some damn ornament. Have you lost your freaking mind? Yes, now I know she tried to kill a kid. She tried to kill Ethan. So I was going to say maybe she doesn't deserve the title Casey Anthony. But that's what I thought of because I'm like, this bitch is walking around like she didn't do anything. Just living her life, going on tours, just going here, going to diners, asking for her shit back. Like she didn't just kill somebody or try to kill this little kid or the people that she left the door open. You know, Kenny's dad and the nurse. And Toby. Let's not forget about Toby. Yes, he was driving under the influence. He could have really hurt somebody, but let's not forget about him. I mean, hell, the only place Sara didn't go to was the clinic. I'm surprised she didn't go on a tour and ask Kristi for something back that she left there. I mean, this girl. Okay. So Sara first goes to her old house. Let's go on the Sara tour. She goes to her old house. I believe it's the bus people because they're not being consistent with these extras. And now that they gave these two people talking points, I better see them again. I saw a lot of extras I haven't seen before in this episode. I'm tired of it. I'm really tired of it. Especially with me being black, I just recognize the other black extras. You can't just throw a couple random black people in there and then switch them out 2 episodes later. I'm gonna recognize that they're not the same. Why didn't you guys just get extras and say, this is how long we're shooting the season for. Can you stay on for 6 weeks? Can you stay on for 3 months? And then that's it. You can't just have random different people. I know we're on Sara, but like it just, every time I saw extra, I'm like, who are you guys? I've never seen you. And then they do different ages and all the time, but like, no, there's just too many random people. Every episode, there's different ones. Y'all need to stop. But she's back at her old house. She's looking for something. The bus people kick her out. They're like, we don't want you here. You're creeping us out. It's weird that you're here. And she tries to take Nathan's jacket. They're like, that's not his jacket anymore. That's my jacket. Like, it was so funny. That actually, it was funny to me. So this was probably like the best scene. Because they're like, they did not want to give that jacket up for nothing. Like, when they kicked her out, they still took the jacket. They were focused so much on that jacket. The guy even called the other girl out. She's trying to take my jacket. Like, dude, this wasn't your jacket 2 days ago, but whatever. I found it funny. It wasn't probably supposed to be funny, but it was funny to me. Then while Sara was on her tour walking around to God knows where, Ethan finds her because she's just there. And he comes up and confronts her, tells her, you were out in the woods. Only monsters live in the woods. You're a monster. I'm not afraid of you anymore. We're not friends. And Sara was like, okay. This bitch gives 0 fucks. Man, if I just poured my heart out and I'm telling you all the shit that you did wrong and what I feel about you because you tried to kill me and your response is okay, I'm whooping your ass. I'm just, no, you better have a big ass apology. I know Ethan's a little kid. His daddy was right there. But when she just said okay, like I understand her okay was like okay, like she's accepting it. Like I'm taking all that. There's no excuse. But what she should have did than just say okay is get on her knees and say, I'm so freaking sorry. I wanted to get out of here so bad. I had these things talking in my head and they convinced me that if I killed you, we can go home. Now, if I'm the daddy, I'm gonna be like, why'd they tell you to kill my kid? Like, that's just another question. Why my kid? Well, I don't know. They just told me. Okay, well, then let's figure out why did they want my kid dead? Because that would make me really, really paranoid. Like okay, we believe her. We have proof that the voices are real. Okay, so why did these voices say my kid? And we need to get to the bottom of that. But after that, she goes, let me go back to the church. People ain't really feeling me out here. They just keep staring at me. So she goes to the church. Elgin comes in. I had so much hope for Elgin, but he disappointed me in this episode. Like, hasn't said a word to anyone. And then up here talking about his grandma and the owls all week or all episode to Sara. Like, Elgin, fuck the owls. Fuck your grandma. Who cares? Tell us something important. You sit up here. This is the first time you actually said something more than like a sentence. And you're talking about nothing to this girl who you're trying to flirt with. Talking about, I know you don't live at the Collie Nows. I would have noticed you. Yuck. Gross. Are you trying to hit on me while we're in the freaking hell? Like, no. Elgin, I had so much hope for you. But you over here cupcaking for this killer. And then later on, when Kenny confronts her, which I'll get to, Elgin over there picking up her bags. Like, you know she a killer. And you're over here. It just made me mad. I just could not stop thinking about Casey Anthony. I'm like, is this bitch walking around and someone else helping her pick up her fallen belongings? Like, ugh. But she says, hey, I killed my brother. Elgin goes, oh, but it was an accident, right? I thought Elgin heard the story. I'm like, oh, Elgin knows who she is now that she said, I killed my brother. But no, he just assumed it was an accident. He's like, it's an accident, right? It was an accident. Sara goes, you'll hear everything soon enough. And Elgin does get a little freaked out, and that's when he gets up. But it's like, Elgin, your reaction wasn't strong enough for me. Like, if someone told me I killed my brother, my first response would not be, was it an accident? I'm like, oh shit, let me get out of here. And then maybe from 20 feet away, well, what happened? Do you mind telling me what happened? Was it an accident? But I'm not gonna be sitting one seat from you, 2 feet from you, talking about it was an accident. I don't know you. So I just that scene made me mad because it just, for all the things of how the world is and how people like Sara are you can hear that they do like horrible shit and you're just still looking at them like an innocent butterfly. And I think that's what pissed me off more than anything in this scene. But Sara says, hey, her and her brother used to make ornaments, blah, blah, blah. They used to go to the dollar store. I'm just going to say that ornament that Kenny broke, that was not no dollar store. I'm sorry. I used to get dollar store ornaments. First of all, they're cheaper than what she had. They're like, that was a decent ornament. The fact that it fell out of the box and didn't break, Kenny had to actually throw it and break. No. And then they painted those? Come on. They should have really went to a dollar store to see what the dollar store ornaments look like. Not to mention, dollar store is the dollar store. They don't have ornaments all throughout the rest of the year. She's like, yeah, we would go even when it's not Christmas. Okay, writers, y'all need to be in the railroad because no, it's the dollar store. It literally only has ornaments or whatever for that holiday. I can't just go out there right now in the month of May and think they're going to have Christmas decorations. They're not. They're not going to have them. Maybe if it was in October, maybe. But the dollar store, so I felt like that was like, don't try to act like you had humble beginnings, Sara. Don't tell me about you and your brother, how you guys weren't that poor if you were up here buying hundreds of ornaments to where you can decorate the Christmas trees. Now you're just wasteful. Like, come on. It's something small. I just thought about it because I'm like, I used to get ornaments from dollar store and they didn't look like that. So Sara gets the courage. She probably didn't even need any. She just figured, hey, she probably didn't have to think about it. She's just like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to get my ornament. So she goes to the diner and she does say sorry to Miss Lou. Miss Lou was pissed, rightfully so. And she said, you take him from me. You took him from me. And what I really liked what she said was when she said, you put hate inside me. And anyone who has been wronged or a certain situation has changed you, you know what she means by that. Like, I didn't have this hate in me. And something that you did now has put hate that I didn't even want in me. So I think that was my favorite line of the episode, with her saying, you put hate inside me. Because then immediately we go to Kenny, which, Kenny now has this hate inside him. And it can show you how one horrible situation, it didn't even happen directly to them, but it happened to their family member. It happened to someone really close to them, how it's now changed them as a person. And even with Kristi telling her girlfriend, like, I may not be the same because I've seen things, I've done things. She probably has, all of them probably have some hate in them that they didn't have when they got there. But I really felt Miss Lou on that, because she's like, I took care of you, like, I treated you good, and this is what you did this to my husband? So yeah, I really liked that scene. But when Kenny sees her leaving, he was like, hell no, Casey, I know you didn't just come here to my mom's diner to get your shit. Like, no way. I was sad to see Kenny like this because he's such a nice person and I know he's hurting. But when he emptied her box out and then when she picked up, all she did was, that's what's making me so mad. Because when he dropped her box down, she ran after that one little ornament. She's not that remorseful because she's still worried about the wrong thing. She's still worried about this ornament. She's still worried about what she lost on her own accord. But Kenny picks up that ornament, takes it from her, and throws that bad boy down. I would have picked it up again when she started picking up the pieces. Like, bitch, you ain't even gonna get this broken. You're not getting it at all. Get away. Go. Scoot. And he tells her, if you come back again, I'm gonna put your psycho ass in the box myself. Go, Kenny. You're saying everything that I want to say. Only difference is I wouldn't have gave her stuff back. Nah. Don't even try to pick up these pieces. Nope. It's not gonna happen. And that's pretty much the episode. I will say I enjoyed talking about it more than I did watching it, but I'm not here to bash it. I still love From. I recommend it to somebody else almost every day. Like, have you seen From? Okay, you have it. Let me tell you where you should watch it, where you can watch it. And so I do love this show. It wasn't my favorite episode. I don't see me going back to this episode again until like after season 2 is over and I do a full rewatch of season 2 as a whole is probably when I would watch this episode again. But yeah, so we'll see. We didn't get the Randall thing that I wanted this week, but I do hope we get to see Randall shit in his pants next week. That's the only thing that's holding me over. So now it's time for listener letters. And remember, if you guys want to be part of the podcast, hit me up, host@theverdictsin.com. That's HOST@theverdictsin.com. We have an email today from Gloria. This is for This Way Gone. So this is for episode 4 from season 2. She goes, Randall was more concerned about the vomit on him and the bus than the blood all over the bus. That blood has to stink. Yeah, you're right. His reaction when he gets on the bus, when Donna brings him to the bus and he just looks and there's all those blood stains. But the way he was acting with that vomit on him, I just don't know how he could sleep there. Like every time you turn and look, even if you're on the front of the bus, okay, but if you look behind you, boom, there goes all that blood. Like it's all over the walls, it's on the floors, it's stained. And yeah, his reaction to Elgin throwing up on him was way worse than seeing the blood, but I can't even blame him because, yeah, someone actively throwing up on you is pretty darn gross. She continues, I do think it's something going on with the nurse. She stared at Tabitha much too long. It's like she's hiding something. Well, Gloria, there you have it. She is definitely hiding something. I just did not think that's what it was going to be because it seemed like such the obvious answer that I was like, oh no, it can't be the obvious answer that she's, she was sneaking drugs. It has to be something that we're not even thinking of, which is why I thought it was the names of the prescriptions or something. But yeah, I was way off. But yeah, she's hiding something. She goes, as far as Jade and the bus driver talking at the bar, I thought it was very much classism. He tried to make a joke out of it. I bet if the bus driver wasn't drinking and in the situation, she would have lashed out at him. Yeah, I mean, Jade has been classist or elitist ever since he got there. Like, he lets you know his company just sold for a lot of money. He's rich as fuck. He lets you know he's rich and he's smarter than everybody else. And yeah, I mean, Jade is Jade. What he said was wrong. I did think it was funny, but what he said was wrong. And it was funny, like, haha, funny on a show. Or something funny you might say, like, quietly to your friends. But, yeah, if I heard Jade say that out loud, I would be giving him the side eye. Like, in real life, I'd be like, okay, we see what type of person you are. And I wonder where that bus driver is. We didn't see her. And she's sure not sleeping at the bar with Jade. So I thought we would see her there, too, but nope. And then she says, I also think that Boyd should have told everyone that he reacted the same way when the father told him. But I understand everyone was so mad he couldn't get a word in. Yes, I said that I think in the last episode. I'm like, wait, when Father Khatri first told him, he pulled a gun on Father Khatri. So even when he said something about it to this episode, in episode 5, to Donna, and Donna's like, he's dead. Don't try to blame this on him. And like, but Father Khatri is the one. And maybe if he tells his story calmly, like, well, I guess he's now telling it after the fact. They've all heard it from someone else. But I think if he says, hey, I need a moment. Can everyone sit here? Can we have a town hall meeting of some sort? Let me tell you everything that has taken place. I understand you guys are all upset. You have a right to be. You feel like I've betrayed your trust. And I get that. If you can give me just 10 minutes to talk without being interrupted, I will tell you everything I know. And I will answer all of your questions to the best of my ability. I mean, I know you can't do that when everyone's yelling, but do something along that line. Do something. Just like, hey, everyone come to the town hall. We can talk about it there. I understand you're mad. Come to the town hall. We'll talk about it there. That's all he needs to repeat. Come to the town hall. We'll talk about it there. And I don't know. It may have worked. It may have not worked, but I feel like that's something he could have done. She's mainly talking about last episode, but it still applies this episode. Everyone, once you found out the news was out there, you should just had a meeting, because now you're just playing let me do damage control versus actually just having a real conversation with everyone. And then that could have been like, if anyone else wants to tell what's been going on, that's when Jim could be like, okay, as you guys all know, I built this radio, blah, blah, blah. Like, you have to just say it in a calm manner. You can't just be going out of breath and like, this is what I think. And people are just going to call you crazy or just write you off. Even though Jim was calm when he told Boyd what he did. So I'm really disappointed in Boyd being like, I got to go. You already know Miss Lou. It's too late. Miss Lou already knows. Kenny knew. So she knew almost the moment he knew. It's too late to try to fix that. You might as well have the conversation with Jim right then and there, because you've already kind of messed up any future relationship you have with Miss Lou moving forward, in my opinion. But thank you so much, Gloria, for writing in. I appreciate it. I would love to hear from the rest of you guys as well. So be sure to hit me up, host@theverdictsin.com, or on Twitter @theverdictsin, or facebook.com/verdictsin, and I will discuss it here on the podcast. Until then, I'm Nicole. Have a good one. Bye.